Welcome to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey from vision to reality. I'm Kelly Jackson, your guide on this path of self-discovery, transformation, and intentional living. Here, we explore everything from mindset shifts and personal growth to spiritual alignment and entrepreneurship, sharing insights, stories, and actionable wisdom to help you live a life in harmony with your dreams. Every episode will dig into what it means to not only dream big, but to actually consciously create the life you envision. Let's turn your dreams into real life. All right, guys, I was inspired, as I often am, by something that I saw in just everyday life, and I went, we're going to turn this into an episode. The algorithm as a mirror metaphor, because I believe it really creates a rich opportunity for us to blend metaphysics, self-awareness, personal empowerment, and digital responsibility all into one powerful, timeless conversation. And I want to guide you to examine your digital energetic imprint and how it reveals so much more than you might realize. Not only about your online habits, guys, but about your subconscious patterns and the vibration that you're emitting. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The algorithm is a mirror, what your feed says about you. And we're going to start with the question, what even is the algorithm? And we're going to look at it through a holistic lens, starting with the basics, because I think most people treat the algorithm like it's this mysterious, maybe even slightly evil force that controls their content experience. However, from a metaphysical and a holistic perspective, the algorithm is not out to get us. It's really not. It is simply a reflection. It's a feedback system. And when we learn to look at it through the lens of energy and awareness, it becomes one of the most fascinating mirrors of where we have been placing our focus and attention. You're gonna have to be sure ego can't be in on this one. Right? This is like a higher self conversation. Okay? Because you're going to maybe hear some things that you're not going to want to admit about yourself. That's when ego comes into play. And that's why I'm saying this is a higher self conversation. Okay? And we're going to start here. Energy flows where attention goes. And the algorithm is proof. The more that we like, pause, comment, share certain types of content, the more that energy compounds. If your feed is filled with drama, chaos, gossip, or fear, ask, why am I magnetized to that energy? Because the algorithm is only serving up what you energetically signal you're available for. And we're going to get into this, guys, and this is just the tip of it. I really believe you're going, in this day and age, everybody needs this conversation, myself included. That's why I think it's a fascinating topic. And this is why we're dedicating an entire episode to it. The algorithm is literally coded to reflect your behavior. I know the word literally can get overused, and I am one of the people who in the past has overused the word, like even where it doesn't need to be used. In this case, I want you to understand I'm very intentionally using the word. The algorithm is literally coded to reflect your behavior. It doesn't have a personality or a moral compass. It is neutral. And it responds to patterns. If you're doom scrolling or indulging in content that feeds insecurity or comparison, it is not punishing you. It is matching you. And you're being invited to shift the pattern, okay? Your digital frequency is an extension of your energetic frequency. And I know if you're listening to this podcast, for one, if you know me, you know energy, frequency, vibes. We're going to be diving into the realm of quantum physics, energy, frequency, vibes, metaphysics, all of the things. Some may say woo-woo. Some may say, hey, it's science-backed. Wherever you say, hey, that's up to you. But if you're here tuning in and you're listening, there must be something about this that's interesting to you as well. And guys, I want you to understand that everything truly that we're going to be talking about with the algorithm, it really is. It comes back to energy, frequency, and vibrations. Okay? And so, again, the feed isn't punishing you with all this stuff. It's matching you, and you are being invited to shift the pattern. And your digital frequency is an extension of your energetic frequency. And so we often separate, quote, real life from online life. However, everything is energy. And so the thoughts you think while you scroll, the emotional tone of your comments, the things that you linger on, even if you don't engage, even if you don't like, comment, share, save, if you're lingering on it, that's creating data. Not just to the platform, but also to the quantum field. The things that, this is why we say that your thoughts matter. Thoughts become things, words create worlds, all of that. And the things that you interact with become part of your digital ecosystem. So every time you hit replay, or you double tap something, or you hit the save flag button, whatever you call that. It looks like a little flag to me. You're essentially casting a vote for more of that reality. It's the digital version of manifestation in real time. Okay? You are in a relationship with your feed. And relationships require attention and intention. And just like in real life, when we become more intentional in what we consume, we elevate the quality of that connection. And so what I'm trying to say is, don't blame the algorithm for reflecting chaos if you are over here feeding the confusion. You know, there's something I remember seeing on Instagram, I believe, one time a while back, but that said, you know, if you don't be surprised with all these wishy-washy results in your life if you are giving wishy-washy energy out into the universe. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And so sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. that's why I started this off by saying part of the point of this episode is self-awareness, so that we can bring our awareness to, like, is that a pattern that I'm unconsciously, keeping up in my life or repeating in my life? So if we're saying we want one thing, however, our online habits don't reflect what we say we want, because maybe we're lingering on posts, even if we're not engaging, even if we're being a little looky-loo and just observing, but we're lingering, and it's creating some thoughts or some feelings or some emotions inside of us, then this is you feeding the confusion to the quantum field. This is where your wishy-washy energy comes in, because you're saying you want one thing, but you're allowing yourself to be consumed by something that is not that. And so, again, don't blame the algorithm for reflecting chaos in your life, in your feed, etc., when you are the one that is truly feeding it confusion by your actions and your habits. The algorithm is not good or bad. It's a reflection tool. It's a manifestation mirror. It reflects not only what you consume, but what you believe, what you're emotionally resonating with, and what your subconscious is silently craving. And that awareness alone can begin to shift everything. I know that I am not the only one, because I even see memes about it. I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have experienced this at least once in your life, where you're like, talk about something, and then all of a sudden you're getting a sponsored post for it, right? And you're like, wow, I was just talking about this to a friend, and now it's like 4 back-to-back sponsored posts on my feed for this service, product, person, event, whatever it is. Well, here's the thing. And some of you may not even realize what cookies are. Cookies, when you're on your computer, and sometimes that little pop-up window every time you go to a new website, and it's like, this site uses cookies, and there's an accept or a decline button or accept some. And one thing that happens too in this digital age, and I know this not only from being a consumer and a user of it, but also from being a graphic designer and being on the back end of it, is that we are just so inundated with so much information now that we kind of, if you have ever looked at a recipe online, I believe, in my opinion, they might be the worst for it. You just trying to get a little recipe to cook a dinner. And there are pop-ups and videos and ads. They are so overwhelming, and they're like right in the middle of a block of a paragraph, and they're on the left and they're on the right, and they're popping up while you're reading, and they're popping up to the left, and they are everywhere. And you feel like you're just trying to focus on reading that paragraph in the middle or the recipe, and you're hitting the close button, and you've basically learned how to just kind of ignore all of this busyness around you, right? Because you just see so much of it all of the time. All that to say this, that little cookies box that pops up when you go to a new window, you might not be you might be so in the habit of just accept, close, ignore. Maybe you don't even know all what it is that you're agreeing to or declining or any of that. But part of what cookies does is it kind of tracks your online habits, your behaviors, what you're doing. And when you are, and websites do this, and this can be beneficial to you to allow this to happen. But what I'm saying is, you don't even know. You just type one thing into a search bar on a search engine online, or, you go look for one thing one time on one website. It doesn't matter. All of this stuff, everything you're doing digitally, it just all comes back. And it is going to show itself in your social media feed, in your algorithm. We're going to get a little more into it. I just want to bring your awareness to that. Because again, awareness alone can begin to shift everything. Digital self-responsibility is what I want to talk about now. You built the feed brick by brick. That's kind of one of the things that inspired this. I noticed a pattern, a trend. We're going to call it what it is. It's a trend where I've seen on viral videos that maybe are fun, entertaining, ones that people really enjoy or like. I will notice this new trend where people will comment under like, I built this algorithm brick for brick. Like, I'm so proud of myself. Pat on the back. I built this algorithm brick for brick. And people get excited, that like this showed up in my feed. Okay, let's talk about ownership. And it's tempting to joke about how our feeds, quote, just ended up this way. But the truth is, every like, every comment, every watch was a brick. And we laid them one by one. And guys, this doesn't need to be a moment of guilt or shame, okay? Ever. Because that's counterproductive to what we're doing here, which is raising the vibration of love on earth. So it's actually empowering to realize that if you built it brick by brick, then you can rebuild it brick by brick. So I want you to look at your feed like a vision board for your subconscious and ask yourself, if someone looked at only my For You or my Explore page, what would they learn about my mindset? And guys, you can take a pause right now and open up your preferred social media platform and go to your For You page or your Explore page and just look at it without judgment, without pushing anything, without tapping on anything. Just get a little snapshot of where you are in this moment, okay? Is it growth oriented? Is it chaotic? Is it spiritually nourishing? Is it judgmental? Is it playful? Is it inspirational? Is it drama and gossip? That feed, your For You, your Explore page, it says a lot. And again, if someone looked at just that page, they could tell a lot about you and your habits in this moment where you currently are. Curating your digital world is an act of self-love. And I want you to hear this because I am your self-love bestie, so I feel like I have a responsibility at this point to make sure you understand that curating your digital world really is an act of self-love, because just like you would not leave toxic clutter all over your living space, don't allow it in your scroll space either. Muting, unfollowing, blocking, or even just like diversifying your feed is a ritual of digital hygiene. And I say ritual because it's not a one-time thing. I really do believe it's something that you need to ritualistically do. You need to, maybe it's quarterly, the whole idea. And I've got a great episode on the quarterly reset, and it talks about rhythm and flow in your business and life. And I'm just going to mention it here because it came to mind. It's a good episode. But let this be a ritual. Don't just do it one time. I mean, we're constantly doing this work and we're moving energy and we're shifting and evolving and healing and aligning. And so we do need to be mindful to check in and curate your digital world. Maybe there's some accounts that you don't need to be following anymore. Or you just need to mute for a little while because the energy's off or whatever. Guys, give yourself permission to do it. You're the architect here. You're not a passive observer. And the feed is not happening to you. You're not a victim to it. It's truly designed to adapt to your behavior. Like they pay the top of the top, like they hire the best engineers that they can find to create, to code these platforms so that they will adapt to your behavior. Like this is how they are designed. They are finding, they are hiring, they are bringing on, they are building a team. They being the social media people of the best engineers and coders and software developers who are like, this is what they do. This is what they're brilliant at, is designing this to adapt to your behavior. So if you want to shift it, shift what you feed it. Okay? Reprogram your feed like you would reprogram your mind. Follow creators who uplift, who challenge, and inspire you. And engage with content that aligns with the version of you that you are stepping into, not the version that you're healing from. Okay? A digital detox, it's not the only answer. Digital discernment is. Because sometimes it's not about unplugging for a week. Guys, I got off social media for over 2 years. I don't know if you know that or not, but like in this intentional journey of self that I'm still currently on, but that I started, 9-ish or so years ago with a big life change, and got on Instagram. Only have been using it for business purposes for maybe like a year or so. But before that, when I got on Instagram around 8.5, 9 years ago, it was just the beginning of my journey, my intentional journey of self, and it was strictly personal. I was not running any kind of business or serving in this way that I am now. And as I was trying to learn and heal and grow and go through this process and do all the things, there were digital detox, I thought, was the only answer for me at the time. And again, I got off. I got off for 14 months, and then I got off came back on for a couple months, 3 or 4, and then I got off for another 10, and then maybe got on for a month or 2, and then got off for another 3 or 4, something like that. So like I was off for, I think altogether maybe 27 months within a couple year period. But sometimes that's not the only answer. And this is what I've learned now. It's not only about unplugging for a week or a month or a year. Sometimes it's about recalibrating your relationship with the feed so that it becomes a tool instead of a trigger. And this is what I want to talk about digital discernment a little, because again, I've completely gotten off social media. I'm thinking that was the answer. And at the time, that was the best thing for me. And I'm going to share what I've learned, that digital discernment is about finding a balance in your technology use rather than completely avoiding it or unplugging for, again, a week, a month, a year, or whatever. Digital discernment is more of a nuanced approach that focuses on recalibrating your relationship with technology, making it a tool that serves you instead of a trigger that controls you. And I think some of the key principles, I would say, of digital discernment would be intentionality, like using technology with a clear purpose rather than mindlessly scrolling or clicking, and boundaries, for sure. like setting limits on your technology use, such as maybe specific times of the day or week when you're available or unavailable. And even, when I get on, I'm not going to lose track of time and just be going and going. Mindfulness, and another thing I'm going to say there too that came with that for me is creating more than I'm consuming. If I get into a pattern or habit where I'm over consuming, and this could be with anything, that is not healthy for me. And so, yes, I do enjoy consuming, and I'm very intentional about my feed. I have, the feed that I have curated is so intentional, and I love it that way. Even still, I'm mindful to not consume more than I am creating, because if I'm consuming too much and I am not actively creating, my creativity really starts to be affected and impacted in a negative way. Okay. Another thing would just be would be mindfulness. When I'm talking about digital discernment, it's just being present and aware of your technology use and recognizing how it affects you, and then making conscious choices based on what you observe. Okay? Pardon me as I dropped my sweater and got away from the mic. I think some of the strategies I would say for digital discernment would be to schedule technology use, like set specific times for checking emails or social media or messages, and then stick to those times. One of the things I do, and I've mentioned this before, I'm just sharing, I'm not saying you have to do this, sharing my personal experiences. I do not have notifications turned on for any social media. I don't need those quote dopamine hits. I don't need those notifications coming in. There is nothing. I have certain times that I know that I'm going to be hopping onto social media, like Instagram, to post a story, to make a post, to hop into the DMs. And I might not be doing each of those things every single time that I hop on. And I know that going into it, right? But so I don't turn notifications on. I'll see it when I hop on. I don't need to know when things come through. I don't need that. And this kind of goes into the next thing about setting boundaries too. That's just a boundary for me. And another way you can set boundaries is establishing tech-free zones or times, like during meals or before bed, or some may have no cell phones or social media in their bed, right? Or you can do whatever you want, but set some boundaries around your usage, your times, your zones. There's certain places you don't do it. And I'm going to say during meals, because again, if you've listened to my intuitive eating episode or any of the things I say or teach on that, then when you're eating, eat, be present. That's putting two habits on top of each other that are really not helping each other. The scrolling while you're eating, it's kind of not helpful for either, because you're not being present or intentional with either one fully. Now, another thing, prioritizing your offline activities. Y'all, engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, like reading, exercising, spending time with people you love. Just remember that there is life outside of social media or online. Okay. And I want to say what I believe some of the benefits of this digital discernment are. For one, improve mental clarity, for sure. I think by being more intentional with technology in general, you really can reduce distractions and improve focus. And that in turn enhances productivity. I think when you start setting boundaries and prioritizing tasks, you begin to achieve more in less time. And you will see how your current social media habits are just that, they're habits. And you can, with increased self-awareness and by recognizing your technology use patterns, you can make conscious choices that align with your values and goals. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. And one other thing that I think is a benefit of the digital discernment is better relationships. By being more present and engaged with others, you can really and truly build stronger and more meaningful connections. So that's just something I wanted to say on that. You know, if you have been feeling drained or overstimulated or even emotionally hijacked by your own feed, because sometimes that's what it feels like, this is your invitation to reclaim it. Reclaim your feed, because what you see online can either lower your frequency or it can lift your consciousness. So choose to be intentional, because at the end of the day, you're really not just scrolling. You are casting votes for the reality that you want to live in. Okay? Now, vibration. I want to talk about vibration in the digital age specifically, and aligning your online energy, because this is important. In the spiritual and metaphysical world, we talk a lot about, protecting your energy. But I want you to understand that protecting does not mean hiding. Okay? It means aligning. And so in this little segment here, I want to explore how you can apply the concepts of frequency and vibration and alignment to the way that you interact online, because your digital presence is also an energetic presence. Your digital presence is also an energetic presence. Every single thing that you post carries a vibration. Your captions, your tone, your comments, they all contain energy. Ask yourself before you post or you comment, is this aligned with the frequency I want to live in? Okay? Guys, digital clutter is real. And just like you clear out old energy in your home or your car, or you clear out saved folders, I want you to unfollow accounts that you've outgrown. And I want you to reset your app boundaries. This is a frequency cleanse. And you know what? When I said unfollow accounts you've outgrown, if you heard that and went, what if they know I unfollow them and then they're not going to like me, or they're going to, guys, then that lets you know this is an area we need to work on, because you don't owe anybody anything. And if an account is no longer aligned with your energy, with your vision, with the direction for your life, it's okay to let it go with gratitude. And you don't have to announce that you're unfollowing. You don't have to make a big deal. You simply just say, that account, for a while it served its purpose, and now it's just, I've outgrown it. Maybe your energy changed. Maybe their energy changed. Maybe it doesn't even matter, does it? It's just not aligned anymore. So you let it go. And you're creating space for better things. And plus, this is just a healthy thing to do, because digital clutter is real. It's a frequency cleanse. This is a frequency cleanse. Your frequency. Because again, you're asking yourself before you post, before you comment, before you share, is this aligned with the frequency I want to live in? And another thing you can do is pause before you scroll and set an intention. So before you even open any app, take a deep breath. maybe you'll even catch yourself like not even realizing it. Say you're meeting someone for coffee and you arrive and you sit down at the table and your friend's not there yet. And you're just like, oh my gosh. And you kind of sit down and you look around for a minute and you don't see anyone and you take it in for a minute. And then after that one little second of you taking it all in, without even thinking about it, you just reach for your phone, pull it out, and you open up social media and start scrolling or see what's going on. I know I've done it before. We've all done it. And what I'm trying to say is now what I'm really mindful to be in the habit and practice of doing is that not to be just my go-to, my default, just to grab the phone when there's any moment of whatever, to just scroll, see what's going on, check in. No, what I'm going to invite you to do, set a pause or set an intention, pause. Before you open an app, take a deep breath and ask, what am I here for? Inspiration? Connection? Rest? Am I looking for an answer? Am I looking for a sign? Why are you getting online? Are you curious? Are you looking for something? Do you need something? Are you bored? Right? Ask yourself these questions, because that one question can completely change your experience. Another thing that comes to mind is that viral doesn't always mean valuable. So high engagement doesn't equal high vibration. Train yourself to feel the frequency of a post, not just its popularity. Okay? I honestly believe that social media is a sacred space when used intentionally. I know I have made some of the most profound relationships, truly some of the most special people in my life. I've made that connection through social media. So I want you to think of it as a temple of ideas and creativity and human expression. And if you walk into that temple with reverence and discernment, then your experience will transform. Your feed is not just a distraction. It is a dimension. And I know I stumbled on that word. Let me say that again, because my thoughts got ahead of me. Your feed is not a distraction. It is a dimension. And when you treat it with awareness and energetic intention, it becomes a tool for manifestation and healing and higher alignment and connection. You are not here to scroll unconsciously. You are here to create and connect from your highest self. This is a powerful modern tool that we have at our disposal. And, just like anything, the first thing that came to mind, because I was having a conversation with my daughter just yesterday. She's about to be in driver's ed and she has friends who are driving. So she's, started riding with her friends places and things. And we were talking about one of her friends. She said she feels very safe in the car with her. She's a great driver. And, we were just talking about that getting in the car with people that you feel safe with. And I said, yeah, I know that when I was in high school, that was one thing that I was like, that was a boundary that I did have. I was not getting in the car with people that were driving crazy, that were speeding, that were doing donuts, that were, that nothing about that looked fun or cool to me. And I remember something that I would think at the time. I was like, a car is a 1-ton weapon if it's in the hands of the wrong person. And so A car is a tool. Let's think of an automobile as it is a neutral thing. It's an automobile. And someone can get behind the wheel and they can drive to a beautiful destination. Maybe someone needed help and they needed to get to the hospital, and a vehicle can get them there to get the help they need quickly and efficiently, right? A lot faster than if you were to walk there. So you can use this vehicle to do amazing things and to really help you and to help others and to get to beautiful destinations. And that same vehicle can also be destruction, right? Someone can drive it into a crowd of people and cause harm and pain and all these kinds of things. And this really happens, right? And I say this with compassion, and I don't say this lightly. And I'm saying this so that you can understand. It's a metaphor, but guys, this is kind of like everything. It's a vehicle, and social media is the same way. And how are you driving this vehicle? How are you operating the vehicle? Are you driving it towards the destination that you want? Are you driving it? Are you helping other people along the way? You know, are you lifting others up? Are you whatever? Or are you just driving without even paying attention to where you're going? Are you distracted? Are you doing other things at the wheel, right? I mean, it really is. I just want you to think about that. And now I want to talk about how we can go, because I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I want to circle back around to it. How we can go from consumption to creation and shift from passive to powerful, because it's easy to get stuck in the loop of consumption. We are all bombarded with content 24/7, and goodness knows the human brain was not designed to, kind of going back to the recipe example I said online, if you've ever looked up a recipe online, the human brain is not designed to get that much information that quickly, all at the same time. It is so much, and we are bombarded with content 24/7. But the most powerful shift that you can make is moving from a passive consumer to a conscious creator. And so I want to explore here just for a minute how you can shift into the vibration of deliberate contribution, even if you're not a full-time content creator. I consider myself to be a full-time content creator. You do not have to do what I do. You do not have to show up and be seen every single day to still shift into the vibration of deliberate contribution. So this is what I want you to hear. You don't have to be, quote, a creator to create impact. You can share a quote, repost something with intention, or comment with love and support. Guys, those are micro acts of energetic contribution, and you are shaping the vibe of the whole internet. I know we have all seen how the comments can get out of control sometimes, particularly on viral reels, and it's like the comments are divided. And you'll have some people, or sometimes people, oh, this comment section passed the vibe check. Oh, this comment section didn't pass the vibe check. Guys, I know you've all read that in the comments somewhere, right? This is what we're talking about. You are shaping the vibe of the internet every time you share, you repost, you comment, and you can do that in a way that is a positive energetic contribution, or alternatively, you can be one of the ones that contributes to this comment section didn't pass the vibe check. Okay? I want you to let your scroll inspire your soul, not steal your time. And I want you that when you find something beautiful or thought-provoking, pause and then create something of your own. Maybe it's a note, maybe it's a post, a message to friends. Make it yours. Okay? Creation shifts your frequency. And when you move from consumer to contributor, your energy instantly upgrades. When you move from consumer to contributor, your energy instantly upgrades. Do you know what that means? When you're a consumer, if you are the one who has an account and you go on and all you do is look at other people and you watch and you look and you watch and you look and you watch and you look, but you're afraid to say anything, so you watch and you look. You're consuming, but you're not contributing. The moment you decide to quit being scared, to quit hiding, to quit just being that looky-loo, bystander, consumer, and you take the bold, inspired action and start to contribute, your energy instantly upgrades. Period. Quit holding back. You stop looking for what's missing and you start tapping into what wants to move through you. Instead of hesitating and overthinking and typing the comment and then deleting it and scrolling past, you just do it. You contribute. Creation shifts your frequency. I want you to let your online presence be an extension of your embodiment. If you are living with integrity, healing, purpose, love, let it ripple out online, friends. Let your feed be a frequency match for who you are becoming. The world needs your perspective. The world needs your insight. It truly does. There is something that wants to move through you. And if you have been resisting it, this is your invitation to be a contributor and to let your scroll inspire your soul, okay? You don't need 1 million followers to be a lighthouse, guys. The algorithm cannot calculate the impact of your energy. Just one post, one story, or one message at the right moment can shift someone's entire day, or maybe even their entire life. Do not underestimate your ability to positively impact the life of another. You never know. When you choose to show up authentically and in integrity, again, I don't care if you got 10 people following you and one of them is your mom. Doesn't matter. You show up. You never know what that one post, that one story, that one message at just the right moment may do. Okay? All that to say this, you're not just scrolling. You're not just consuming. You are energetically influencing and co-creating the tone of the digital world. So let your presence reflect your power, and let your feed reflect your frequency, and let your digital world become another sacred space for alignment and light and love. Okay, I just thought of something else. I want to talk about algorithmic triggers. Guys, okay, sit down for this. Are you ready? What is still unhealed will show up in the feed. Mic drop. I want to talk about the emotional charge that comes with certain posts. And the reason I said mic drop is because I pretty much can guarantee that something popped into your mind as soon as I said that. Something that you just saw. Because I know the collective, I know astrologically what's going on right now, collectively what's going on right now. I say I know, I feel, I'm tuned into. What I'm saying is this: if you're listening to this, if you're tuned into this podcast episode right here, right now, then when I said that, something popped into your mind. What is still unhealed will show up in the feed. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the emotional charge that comes with certain posts. And you know the ones I'm talking about because they hit a nerve. They stir something inside of you, or they send you into a spiral. And if you can't tell, I'm kind of smiling while I'm talking because I find this to be a very fun and exciting little topic. Because from a metaphysical lens, these moments are less about the content and more about, here's my favorite, what it activates within you. And the key word there is activate. Because that's what we're sent here to do. We're sent here to activate people. Not everybody is going to be your person, but some people you were sent here, put here to activate. And so, or some people were put here to activate something within you. And so the algorithm does not just reflect your interest, it also mirrors your invitations to heal. So, if a post triggers you, it's an energetic breadcrumb. The reaction that you feel isn't the enemy, it's a signal. And so ask, what does this touch in me? Where is this wound or belief rooted? Because the feed is just the surface. And you know who holds the map? You know what holds the map? Your nervous system. Guys, not your nervous system, meaning that's going to be what the quote reaction to the trigger. If it triggers you, that's your nervous system is reacting in a way that means that your nervous system is still activated by that trigger. You've not healed it. You've not identified it. You've not gotten to the root cause of it yet. And I want you to also hear this, that not everything that annoys you is a threat. Sometimes it's just a reflection. Envy, judgment, comparison, or irritation on social media often point to unmet desires and suppressed gifts or internal conflicts. And I think this is really fascinating, and I'm going to talk about this for just a second. I think that these feelings can be triggered by curated posts or highlight reels that showcase others' seemingly perfect lives, right? And this leads to feelings of inadequacy or low self-esteem. And I want you to understand the emotions here. Let's talk about jealousy, because this emotion involves guarding something that you feel you possess or preventing someone else from having it. And it can fuel negative online behaviors like trolling or cancel culture. And I want you to recognize, because there's some other things I want to mention too. Envy, comparison. I want to come back to jealousy though. Let me go through this while I'm thinking about it. So I said envy, that arises when you desire something that someone else has, whether that's an attribute or a possession or a lifestyle, whatever. And it can stem from admiration or desire rather than resentment, maybe. And then the other thing, comparison. And one thing I've always heard and believe, comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison has become this fundamental aspect of human behavior, but on social media, it's kind of amplified the negative effects of it, because we will compare ourselves to other, which leads to self-criticism, or like I said, the envy and the jealousy. And so this is what I want to say about jealousy, though. And I want you to recognize that your own jealousy can really be a powerful tool for self-growth and self-awareness. And by understanding your own jealousy and being willing to admit it and recognize that that's there, you can identify your underlying insecurities, because jealousy often stems from a deeper insecurity or unmet needs. And you can develop self-awareness, like acknowledging your jealousy can help you become more aware of your thoughts, emotion, and behaviors. And this increased self-awareness will lead to better decision-making and constructive relationships. When you recognize and accept your jealousy rather than denying or suppressing it and reflect on the situations or the people or the events that trigger your jealousy, that allows you to start to explore the underlying issues and consider the underlying insecurities or fears or unmet needs that may be contributing to your jealousy. And by working with it in a healthy and constructive way, you really can develop greater self-awareness and improve your relationships and cultivate a more positive and compassionate mindset. And also just remember always to communicate effectively, to share your feelings and concerns with others in a constructive and respectful manner. Another thing, talking about social media, and so I want to mention this, that the social media platforms can showcase other people's best moments. Not always, but sometimes it does. And this can create unrealistic expectations or promote feelings of inadequacy within us. And when we are comparing ourselves to other people on social media, it can kind of lead to that compare and despair loop, right? Where we feel inferior and unhappy. And like I said, comparison is the thief of joy. And so, I think research even suggests that we are more envious of things that haven't happened yet rather than past events. Meaning that like social media can fuel our envy and anxiety about other people's accomplishments. I just want you to be mindful of this, okay? So that you understand and you can rise above it. Triggering content does not mean that you are broken. It means you're human. And so let go of the shame spiral and use the moment to anchor into compassion and to choose a more aligned response. If you need to mute, unfollow, or even get curious about what the discomfort wants to teach you. Curious, not mad. Curious. Guys, healing doesn't always look graceful. Sometimes it is messy and it's mute button heavy, okay? So give yourself permission to protect your peace without explanation. Again, you don't have to make a grand exit. You don't have to announce that you're leaving. Oh, I'm unfollowing. Guys, just quietly exit out the back. No big deal. You are allowed to choose what energies you let into your field. And your emotional reaction is data, not identity. So you can feel strongly without becoming it, okay? So use these moments as portals for deeper journaling, EFT tapping. I've got a video on that on my Instagram. That's emotional freedom technique tapping. Or just any other somatic healing practices, okay? The algorithm, when viewed consciously, really does become a diagnostic tool that is showing you where you are still leaking energy, where you are carrying shame, and where you're ready to level up, okay? I think I've talked about this before, but before I transitioned to plant-based, which was, I did it overnight because I did. I literally was like full on eating everything. And then overnight I was like, nope, I'm plant-based. The next day I was like plant-based. But it didn't happen overnight because of what I've written about on the blog. And I think even talked about in one of these episodes was like for months, for 6 months leading up to it. So I, yoga, meditation, breath work, they all found me at the same time. So I began a daily yoga, meditation, breath work practice. And about 6 months later is when I transitioned to plant-based. But for that 6 months leading up to the overnight, quote, decision to become plant-based, my feed was like, I was getting so much stuff coming into my feed and I was like, that was just like, I felt like it was like saying, Kelly, it's time to become plant-based. It was basically saying that directly to me, but I was resisting it. I was like, me, vegan, no way, no way, no way. And I kept, for a while, I was just rejecting it and resisting it. And then I started to get curious. I'm like, well, okay, why? Like, why does this keep coming in my feed? Why am I getting so many posts about plant-based living and plant-based lifestyle? And so I began to become curious. I guess that's what I wanted to say. And that's all. And you know what? It did kind of trigger me at first because I would see these posts and just be like, oh, why am I seeing so many posts about being plant-based? Like, that's not for me. But kind of, I think it was showing me it was where I was ready to level up in my life. And I became curious. And your digital triggers are your next invitations, is what I'm saying. Not to buy, like, say there's something that keeps coming up in your feed. Why am I seeing this person? Oh my gosh. No. Well, maybe it's this. I can't answer this. Only you can. Maybe it's because it's your invitation to, if they are really bothering you that bad, then you got to have the courage and make the bold action to unfollow, to mute, to do whatever. Or maybe what you're being called to do is to get curious. Why does this person keep coming in my feed? I am resisting them. They are irritating me. I don't like them. They're too happy. They're too positive. They're too this. They're too that. They're too healthy. They're too wealthy. They're too this. They're too that. Well, maybe they're there to trigger something else. Maybe it's your invitation, not for you to bypass or to avoid, but for you to transmute and reclaim your power. That's why I said we have to use digital discernment. You can't just block everybody out. Oh, I don't like the way that made me felt. Block, 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 block. Use discernment. Don't be on autopilot with blocking everything because, I didn't like the way that made me feel one time, so I'm blocking it. Well, maybe it's stirring something up inside of you. You just got to use discernment here, guys. I'm going to finish it out with this. The quantum scroll. Manifestation in the digital, or the age of digital consciousness. Because we are truly living in a time where your digital experience is shaping your identity and vice versa. So what if your scroll was sacred? And what if you use the algorithm not only as a reflection, but as a manifestation tool? So I want to bring quantum physics into this and explore how your online behavior and energy and intentions are impacting the field of possibility. This is the juicy part. The algorithm is a quantum mirror, guys, and it is responding to your dominant frequency. Just like in manifestation, the energy that you hold must consistently become the energy that you hold most consistently becomes your reality. And so the same applies to what you are offered in the digital world. So you got to treat your scroll like your vision board and follow and engage with people and ideas and visuals that reflect the life that you are calling in. And each like and each comment is like a micro prayer to the universe saying, more of this, please. More of this, please. And your attention is your currency, guys. So spend it wisely, because the most expensive thing that you can give is your focus. You are literally investing in timelines every time you scroll. Literally. So, and again, I'm using that word as it should be used here. So make your scroll sacred. You feed the feed what you want to grow. Okay, quote, feed the feed. You feed the feed what you want to grow. So you engage with inspiration, not despair. And you share wisdom, not noise. And you choose joy, not bitterness. And when your digital behavior aligns with your highest self and the algorithm and life, it all follows suit. I'll give you an example. My daughter even noticed this, a teen, and this has been a while back, but we had a conversation one time, and she had noticed a pattern, and she told me, she's like, Mom, I set a time limit on her social media. Like, where it would, after she had been on for her predetermined amount of minutes for that day, it would it just lets her know, like, okay, you've already been on this social media for your time for the day. And that was something she decided that she wanted to do. And one of the things that she also told me while we were having that talk was that she had noticed something about herself, that if she was feeling sad and then she was kind of scrolling on her phone, that all of the things would kind of be sad and she would stay in that place of being sad, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's how it works. And so she's like, I would have to get off, because I realized that it would just keep showing me videos that were sad. And I know, we'll say this. So engage with inspiration, not despair, and just be mindful and know and understand, feed the feed what you want to grow. I mean, truly. You're not just scrolling, you're signaling. Think of every digital interaction as an energetic broadcast. What you are telling the algorithm and the universe that you are ready for. Okay? So again, the algorithm, guys, it's not just a piece of tech. It really is this reflection of collective and personal consciousness. So use it intentionally. And it becomes a tool for manifestation. Use it unconsciously, and it becomes a mirror of misalignment. The choice and the power is yours. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It. I hope today's episode sparked something powerful within you. Remember, every step you take towards your vision counts, no matter how small. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a second to hit that subscribe button or leave a review. That would be amazing. Or share the podcast with someone who's ready to bring their dreams into reality too. And if you're looking to dive deeper, connect with me on social media at Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, or at BE_what you want. Or visit dreameditThenRealLifedIt.us for more resources on aligning your life, business, and dreams. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep manifesting your dreams into real life. Love you, friends.